Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a world where humans never existed. No cities stretching into the sky. No engines humming. No satellites orbiting above. No glowing screens lighting up the night. No noise. No history books. Just a planet breathing on its own. Here's something that might completely change how you see yourself. If Earth's entire 4.5 billion year history were compressed into a single 24-hour clock, humans would appear in the final few seconds before midnight. That's it. A blink. A heartbeat. A whisper in time. But before us, there was an age so powerful, so massive, and so unimaginably alive that it almost feels fictional. And yet it was real. For more than 150 million years, Earth belonged to giants. Not symbolic giants. Real ones. The kind that made the ground tremble with every step. The kind that could change the direction of the wind just by breathing. The kind that ruled land, sea, and sky without question. This was the Cretaceous world, a planet at its peak of wild, untamed life. Imagine waking up in that world. The sun rises slowly over endless forests stretching farther than the eye can see. The air is thick with oxygen, far richer than today, and insects buzz past you the size of modern birds. The world is louder, deeper, and heavier. Every sound feels amplified. Every movement feels powerful. Then suddenly the ground begins to shake. Not from an earthquake. From footsteps. A herd of Argentinosaurus moves across the land. Each one longer than a blue whale. Taller than a 4-story building. Weighing as much as multiple airplanes combined. When they inhale, it feels like the atmosphere itself shifts. When they move together, it feels like the planet has a heartbeat. On open plains nearby, triceratops graze like armored tanks built by nature itself. Their massive horns aren't decorations, they are survival tools. Their thick frills protect them from predators that are always watching. And above them, the sky belongs to something equally terrifying. Giant pterosaurs glide overhead with wingspans wider than small aircraft. Their shadows sweep across the ground like silent warnings. The oceans are no safer. Beneath the surface swim predators so enormous that today's great white shark would look harmless beside them. Mosasaurs dominate the seas. Plesiosaurs move through dark waters like ancient submarines designed for destruction. It seems like a perfect system. Prey feeds on plants. Predators control the prey. The forests grow. The oceans pulse with life. Balance exists everywhere. But perfect systems have one weakness. They don't last forever. Among all these creatures, one stands above the rest. Not the biggest, but perhaps the most feared. Tyrannosaurus rex. 2 tons of muscle. Teeth designed not just to cut flesh but to crush bone. A bite force stronger than almost anything that has ever lived on land. When it roars, the sound travels for miles. But here's the truth most movies don't show you: it wasn't a monster. It was an animal. It hunted to survive. It protected its territory. It may have even cared for its young. It basked under the same sun. It drank from rivers just like every other creature. Life during this time was vibrant, colorful. For the first time in Earth's history, flowering plants began spreading across the land. Purple, red, yellow, forests were no longer just green. Bees appeared, interacting with flowers in a partnership that would shape the future of ecosystems. Small mammals, tiny nervous creatures, lived in the shadows. They hid underground, avoiding the giants above them. They were insignificant. Weak. Barely noticeable. They had no idea they were the future. To them, this world felt eternal. Every sunrise looked permanent. Every day felt guaranteed. And that was the greatest illusion of all. Because far beyond the blue sky, in the cold silence of space, something had already changed direction. Between Mars and Jupiter lies a region filled with millions of rocky fragments, the asteroid belt. For billions of years, these rocks orbited peacefully. But space is not as calm as it appears. Collisions happen. Paths shift. Gravity pulls. At some point, two large objects collided. One fragment was knocked off course. It wasn't small. It was nearly 10 kilometers wide, larger than Mount Everest is tall. A mountain traveling through space. Silent. Invisible. Unaware. It had no anger. No mission. No target. Just physics. Mass and velocity combined into unstoppable force. It was moving toward Earth at nearly 60,000 kilometers per hour, many times faster than a bullet. As it drifted closer, Earth's gravity grabbed it. And here's something chilling to think about. If it had arrived just minutes earlier or later, Earth would have rotated slightly, and it might have crashed harmlessly into deep ocean water. The outcome could have been different. But timing aligned perfectly. On Earth, if anyone looked up, they would have seen a new star in the sky. A bright dot growing larger each night. Brighter. Hotter. More intense. Then it began to glow like the sun. Then brighter than the sun. And then it was too late. When it entered the atmosphere, the air in front of it had nowhere to escape. It compressed violently. Temperatures rose to thousands of degrees. The sky ignited. And then, impact. The explosion was beyond imagination. The energy released was billions of times stronger than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. In less than a second, everything near the impact site was vaporized. Ocean water instantly turned into steam. Rock melted into liquid. Any living creature nearby disappeared before it could even process fear. A crater nearly 20 kilometers deep, mammals might never have risen. Humans might never have existed. Our entire civilization, every building, every book, every idea, depends on that single collision. It wasn't just destruction. It was transformation. The asteroid did not simply end a world. It cleared the stage for another. And when we look at the sky today, at the same asteroid belt still orbiting between Mars and Jupiter, we should remember something important. We are not the permanent rulers of this planet. We are survivors of a cosmic accident. Because history shows one undeniable truth. On Earth, power never truly belongs to any species. In the end, nature always decides. Thousands of years passed in silence before the planet truly began to breathe again. The skies slowly cleared, but the world that returned was not the same world that had burned. It was quieter, emptier, waiting. Imagine stepping into that landscape. Forests no longer tower with colossal reptiles. The thunder of massive footsteps is gone. The oceans no longer ripple with giant shadows. The dominant rulers of Earth have vanished as if they were never here. And in that silence, something small moves. At first, it doesn't look important. A tiny mammal, no larger than a house cat, emerges from a burrow. Its heart beats fast. Its eyes scan constantly. It is cautious, fragile, easily frightened. But it is alive. That alone makes it powerful. Here's the twist no one sees coming. The future does not belong to the strongest. It belongs to the adaptable. While the giants relied on size and strength, these small mammals relied on flexibility. They could eat different foods. They could hide underground. They reproduced quickly. They learned fast. And in a broken world, those traits became priceless. Forests began to regrow in patches. Ferns spread first, reclaiming scorched land. Flowering plants followed. Insects returned. The food chain slowly rebuilt itself from the bottom up. But this time, there were no towering reptiles to dominate the ecosystem. Space had been cleared. Opportunity had opened. And evolution does not waste opportunity. Over millions of years, those tiny mammals began to change. Some grew larger. Some adapted to climbing trees. Others returned to the oceans. Some evolved sharper teeth. Others developed better vision. Diversity exploded. It's almost impossible to imagine the scale of time involved. 1 million years. 10 million. 50 million. Change so slow that no single generation could notice it, yet unstoppable in direction. Continents were shifting too. The world itself was rearranging its shape. Mountains rose. Seas opened. Climates changed. And with each environmental shift, life responded. This is where the story becomes even more fascinating. Because one branch of those early mammals began developing something extraordinary. Not size, not claws, not speed, but intelligence. Primates emerged in forest canopies, adapting to life in trees. Forward-facing eyes improved depth perception. Flexible hands allowed for gripping branches. Social behavior became more complex. Groups formed. Communication evolved. Memory improved. The brain was slowly becoming the ultimate survival tool. But survival in trees would not be enough forever. Around 6 to 7 million years ago in Africa, climate shifts began reducing dense forests. Grasslands expanded. Open savannas replaced thick jungles. And some primates faced a choice: adapt or disappear. Some climbed down from the trees. Walking upright was not immediate or perfect. It was awkward at first. But standing on two legs offered advantages. It allowed individuals to see over tall grass. It freed their hands. Changed everything. Those hands, no longer needed for constant climbing, became tools. And tools changed the game. Here's another truth that feels almost unbelievable. Every piece of technology you use today, from smartphones to spacecraft, traces back to the moment a primate first picked up a stone with intention. That simple act began a chain reaction. Homo habilis. Homo erectus. Later, Homo sapiens. Brains grew larger. Fire was controlled. Language emerged. Cooperation strengthened survival chances. Knowledge began transferring across generations. Unlike dinosaurs, whose survival depended largely on physical dominance, humans developed a different strategy: understanding. We studied patterns. We predicted seasons. We built shelters. We created symbols. We imagined things that did not yet exist. Imagination became our greatest weapon. But here's the irony that should make you pause. The very intelligence that allowed us to rise is also the reason we sometimes forget how fragile our existence truly is. Because the asteroid belt still orbits between Mars and Jupiter. Because comets still travel through our solar system. Because Earth is not isolated from the universe. Let's slow down and really think about this. 66 million years ago, one rock, just 10 kilometers wide, changed the entire direction of life on Earth. It ended 75% of species. It reshaped ecosystems. It determined that mammals, not reptiles, would dominate. If that rock had missed, you would not be here watching this story unfold. Everything you know exists because of cosmic timing. And here's the part most people don't consider. Extinction is not rare in Earth's history. There have been 5 major mass extinctions. The dinosaur event was only one of them. Life on this planet has been wiped out repeatedly. And yet, every time, something survives. The odds were never in your favor. And yet here you are. Which raises a powerful question. If one random event in space shaped our existence, what other events are still unfolding beyond our view? Somewhere in the asteroid belt, rocks still collide. Somewhere in deep space, comets are adjusting their paths. Somewhere, gravitational forces are shaping future trajectories that may one day intersect with Earth's orbit. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not in our lifetime. But the universe is patient. And history has shown that Earth is not untouchable. This realization doesn't have to create fear. It can create awareness. Because the same species that rose from ashes now has telescopes scanning the cosmos. We send probes beyond our solar system. We land rovers on Mars. We study distant galaxies billions of light years away. From burrows to space exploration. From hiding underground to mapping the universe. That is the arc of our story. And it all began with extinction. The asteroid did not just end the age of dinosaurs. It opened the door for intelligence to evolve. It allowed consciousness to emerge. It created the possibility for a species that could look back at the stars and ask, how did we get here? Now imagine something even more mind-bending. In billions of years, our sun will expand and eventually make Earth uninhabitable. Long before that happens, other cosmic events could reshape our world again. The universe is dynamic. Nothing is permanent. Not dinosaurs. Not ice ages. Not civilizations. Not even us. And yet, that impermanence is what makes this moment extraordinary. Because right now, you are part of a species that understands its origin story. You know that you exist because of survival. You know that the ground beneath your feet was once shaken by creatures larger than buildings. You know that the sky once burned red and turned day into night for years. And you know that life still found a way. That is not just science. That is perspective. The next time you look at the night sky, remember this. Somewhere out there is the same region of space that once sent a mountain-sized rock toward Earth. Somewhere out there, gravity is still at work. But also remember something equally powerful. We are no longer helpless. We are the species that rose from catastrophe and learned to read the cosmos. And that may be the most incredible twist of all. Look up at the night sky for a moment. Not casually. Not the way you glance at stars and then return to your phone. Really look at it. Every point of light you see is part of a universe that has been in motion long before Earth even formed. It is beautiful, yes, but it is also active, restless, and constantly changing. And here is the truth that should both humble and electrify you. The same universe that erased the dinosaurs is the same universe we now study with telescopes. The difference is no longer power. The difference is awareness. For most of Earth's history, life reacted. When climates shifted, species adapted or died. When continents moved, ecosystems reshaped themselves. When asteroids struck, extinction followed. There was no anticipation, no preparation, no strategy, until us. For the first time in 4.5 billion years, a species exists that can look at the sky and calculate what it sees. We measure asteroid trajectories. We simulate impact scenarios. We build early warning systems. We design missions to test planetary defense. Think about how extraordinary that is. 66 million years ago, a 10-kilometer-wide asteroid changed everything. Today, if a similar object were discovered years in advance, humanity would not just watch. We would respond. That shift, from helpless to proactive, might be the most important evolutionary leap of all. But this is where the story becomes even deeper. Because the greatest threats to our survival may not only come from space. They can come from within. Climate change, biodiversity loss, nuclear weapons, artificial intelligence, pandemics. These are not random cosmic accidents. These are consequences of intelligence without balance. And that creates a paradox unlike anything in Earth's history. We are the first species capable of preventing extinction-level events, and the first capable of causing one. Pause for a second and let that sink in. Dinosaurs never had a choice. They never saw the asteroid coming. They never understood what was happening. Their fate was sealed by physics. Our fate, however, is shaped by decisions. That is both terrifying and empowering, because it means the story is not finished. Imagine explaining our current world to one of those tiny mammals that survived underground after the impact. A fragile creature hiding from firestorms and darkness. If you could somehow show it modern Earth, Cities glowing at night, airplanes crossing the sky, satellites orbiting above, humans walking on the moon, it would seem impossible. And yet, that is the chain of survival you belong to. From ash-covered forests to global civilizations. From burrows to skyscrapers. From hiding in fear to exploring Mars. The asteroid that ended one age unknowingly began another. It cleared ecological space for mammals. It reshaped food chains. It altered atmospheric chemistry. It changed evolutionary pathways. It did not intend to create humanity, but without it, humanity would likely not exist. That realization should shift how you see disaster. Sometimes what looks like an ending is the beginning of something unimaginable. Mass extinctions are brutal. They erase entire branches of life. But they also reset ecosystems, opening opportunities for new forms to rise. Life is resilient not because it avoids destruction, but because it rebuilds after it. And here's something even more profound. You are not separate from that process. The question is whether we are wise. Because nature always balances itself. It does not negotiate. It does not grant permanent ownership. Every dominant species in Earth's history eventually faced limits. Some limits came from climate. Some from competition. Some from cosmic accidents. If we are to break that pattern, if we are to become the first long-term sustainable dominant species, it will require something no previous ruler of Earth possessed. Collective foresight. Global cooperation. Long-term thinking. The same intelligence that built cities must now protect ecosystems. The same innovation that created industry must now reduce harm. The same curiosity that sent probes into deep space must now safeguard the planet beneath our feet. And here's the most powerful perspective shift of all. We are not the owners of Earth. We are its temporary caretakers. The asteroid that ended the dinosaurs did not destroy life completely. It transformed it. It reshuffled possibilities. It allowed mammals to rise. It set the stage for consciousness to emerge. Now consciousness is here. Aware of its origins. Aware of its fragility. Aware of the cosmos. That awareness may be our greatest survival tool. Because the next extinction-level threat, whether cosmic or self-inflicted, will test not our strength but our unity and intelligence. The universe is vast. It does not revolve around us. It does not promise safety. But it has given us something extraordinary, the ability to understand our place within it. From a mountain-sized asteroid hurtling through space, to a species capable of calculating orbital mechanics. That is evolution's most dramatic twist. The ground you stand on was once ruled by giants whose footsteps shook continents. The sky above you once burned red, turning day into years of darkness. Entire ecosystems have risen and fallen long before humans ever existed. And yet here you are, alive, aware, watching. The story of the asteroid is not just about extinction. It is about transformation. It is about survival against impossible odds. It is about how destruction can clear the path for intelligence. And most importantly, it is about responsibility. Because one day, millions of years from now, another species may study the fossil record. They may examine layers of rock and find evidence of our existence. They may ask what kind of species we were. Did we understand the fragility of our world? Did we protect it? Did we learn from the past? Or did we repeat history? The dinosaurs never had the chance to answer those questions. We do. So the next time you look up at the stars, remember this. We are not here by guarantee. We are here by survival. And survival is not a one-time victory. It is an ongoing choice. Nature always decides the rules. But for the first time in Earth's history, one species has learned how to read them. What happens next is up to us.